Holy crap, Jake Paul is in the MMA business. So I go to the little dirt sheets and I see this headline, Ronda Rousey's taking on Gina Carano, and I don't know what it means. Are they grappler? Are they doing a kickboxing match? Which would have been my guess. There was discussions of Ronda doing a boxing. Katie Taylor even got brought into it. So I was a little surprised when I found out that it was mixed martial arts. Okay, great. But that surprised me because I'm saying, man, that's just not the kind of fight Dana would do. Not to mention they did away with the 45-pound division. Not to mention, I'm not sure those girls can even make 45. You know, the fight might be at 55. I'm just sharing, like, this really surprised me that the UFC was going to do this. I wanted to have seen it coming. Well, it turns out they're not. MVP teamed up with Netflix. And when I read the story, again, it was Gina versus Ronda. I'm going, you guys have missed the story. Nobody cares if Gina's in Ronda. The story is that Jake Paul is in the MMA business. Now, let me break that down for you. They're going to do a card, they're going to put in a cage, they're going to put it on Netflix, right? Boom, boom, boom. So now you've got a supporting cast. And Jake Paul works with a number of MMA fighters already. He works with Anderson Silva, doing some boxing, but Anderson would like to do MMA. He works with Tyron Woodley, doing some boxing, but Tyron would like to do MMA. Just by example, like, I don't know where that's going to go or who else he's going to find or how serious he's going to take the card. Also, when he finds these athletes, is he going to sign them? Is it a one-night event? You've got to understand a massive difference in this business. And everybody that gets into the business, it's the one thing that the boxing guys have not, and the MMA guys always seem to clash on. MMA promotions that make it do a promotion. What does that mean? It means it's sustainable. It means whatever you do, you can do a different night. The same thing. You can reproduce it. It is sustainable. Boxing is very unsustainable, but what do you have to sustain when you don't have a set program? What do you have to sustain when you're only doing it twice a year? That's where the difference from a business standpoint comes from a promotion versus the big fight business. So is Jake Paul now into MMA? Or is Jake Paul in the big fight business? That's very different. Not to mention, that's very interesting. Like, putting on Ronda versus Carano is something hard to do if you're a promoter, because you're not going to get Ronda back. Like, you're going to bring in all these eyeballs, and the one thing that a promoter needs is a storyline that then takes you to tomorrow, right? Vince McMahon on 101. But if that's not what you're doing, if you're not there to advertise another date and sell tickets for another venue, you don't have to do that. You can just bring it in one night. You can play a game of checkers and do real well. So it's a very interesting thing. I mean, that's a very formidable MVP, Netflix. That's very formidable. Now, what do you do with the actual match, right? I mean, what do you do with the actual match? Does it matter that nobody wanted to see this? Competitively, it's just not the kind of thing that you would see in the UFC. But if you're in the big fight business, right, you're doing one-offs, it could be the fight of the year. It could be the biggest fight of the year. And you're not matching resumes here, right? Like, I heard some hater go, oh, you got the girl that was never in the UFC against the girl that woke up the last time she was in the UFC. It's one of these things that's like, well, let me just remind you, if we're doing big fights, there's a very different perspective. Like, Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson broke the internet. Literally. The streaming of the product was shutting down because so many people were watching it. By the way, I found a workaround on that. Go to a tablet as opposed to television if that happens to you next time. I watched the whole thing perfectly clear, no interruptions. Now, I share this because I am very curious what the rest of the card is going to look like. Truly. And the risk in the gamble is tremendous. Like, if you do a card the way that boxing does it, which is you've got your main event, that's great until one of them pulls out, and then you're just stuck. And it's a big risk, but I do believe that Gina and Ronda are fairly reliable. I just don't think that's the story. I think the story that's being missed is that Jake Paul, through teaming up with Netflix, just became a very formidable opponent if they're in the MMA business, as opposed to the big fight business. And I think that people are largely missing what is happening there. I'll be very interested what the reaction is. I'll be interested. Yeah, Saturday, May 16th in Los Angeles. It's very interesting because that does open themselves, right? I mean, Which business are they in and what kind of fight do they have coming in front of them? I think that's the real story here. Ronda versus Carano. All right. Jake Paul putting on MMA. That's the headline.